Welcome, listeners, to the Grande Bouffe, the Big Feast. As always, we are here to copiously consume international politics and culture through the prism of a single film and a different craft beer. And once again, we have returning guest co-host, Ted Rall. Welcome, Ted Rall.
Thank you, Cole Smithey.
Great to have you here to talk about the Gilligan Manifesto, for which we are drinking a Firestone Walker Union Jack IPA, because I think if I was stranded on a desert island in a big ghost frigate full of craft beer rolled up
On a 3-hour tour.
I want that frigate to be full of Union Jack IPA. Cheers.
And some ice.
Yeah, it better all be chilled very well.
Not so good on the desert island.
I think that's one of the important factors in the creation of IPA, was that it was because they could transport the hops to India, Brits, and that's why it's India Pale Ale.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I always like Firestone in general, and this is no exception. It's good.
It's really good. A little bitter, good clean mouthfeel. I love it. Did you know? I know you didn't know, because
How do you know what I don't know?
I know you
don't know what I don't know.
I know that you didn't know, because we were talking on the phone, and somehow watching Gilligan's Island. Wait, what did we do with our childhoods? We squandered our childhoods watching Gilligan's Island
And the Brady Bunch.
But lo and behold, Gilligan's Island is a communist manifesto.
And turns out to actually be incredibly intelligent. Who knew?
And even though I don't think this movie is best reckoning of that, it does introduce the concept to you, and just
Actually, I think Gilligan's Island's better than this movie.
Yes,
Gilligan's Island is better than Gilligan's Manifesto.
That's
the Gilligan Manifesto proves that. So in a way,
right,
it kind of hurts my brain.
Yeah. So we have to come up. I've got to dial up the satirist who wrote. Do you know his name, Mafia? Who wrote Gilligan's Island?
Oh, they interview him. Obviously, he's quite old now, or at least he was when this was filmed. I'm sure he's really young now. Anyway, or dead, or whatever.
But it was his idea to have the 7 remaining survivors,
different walks of life, which, by the way, is a very it's like an ensemble piece. Like, let's throw a bunch of the diverse characters into a situation and see what they do, is a very 50s and 60s conceit, right? Like that movie, The Incident, with Martin Sheen on the New York City subway. Also in the New York City subway, The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. I know it's 1973, but it's still kind of got a 60s.
Well, it's also where
it's
also where we're at with Hollywood, because
MASH is like that.
Everything is diversity. So you've got to have your Latino, you've got to have your African American, you have to have your Asian American.
Welcome back, Cotter.
You need your India from India person. You need to have this spectrum of people in every group. And so anyway, for Gilligan's Island, only 2 of them are named, but you've got
which I never thought about.
Which you've got
Gilligan and Marianne are the only 2 who are named.
Right.
There's the professor,
and they're the proletariat,
the millionaire and his wife, the movie star. Who are we forgetting? Oh, and of course
the skipper without a boat.
Right. So they're all, like, as the narrator intelligently points out, except for Gilligan and Marianne, all of their societal roles have been defined and rendered meaningless by their roles as castaways. Right. The millionaire is in a society without cash. The movie star is on an island without electricity, so therefore no movies or no
celebrity,
no entertainment,
no fame,
celebrity.
no fame.
Right. Glamorous, but not.
Yeah, but her fame means nothing.
Right.
So it's
oh, by the way, this is Lost also, right? Kind of the TV show, Lost.
Well, sure, anything on a desert island is going to have a certain connection.
Yeah. I couldn't stop thinking about Lost though. But Gilligan's Island, was widely considered trash entertainment during our youth, and this documentary, I think, makes a very strong case, really less by what they say. They could have literally done this entire movie and been like, look, Gilligan's Island has a lot of social and political commentary. It's pretty left-wing if you pay attention. That could have been the entire introduction. They could have just shown clips and then sold it. I think that would have been good enough. That would have been like, oh wow, that's basically that's the entire to me that's the entire movie. But they spent an inordinate amount of time. First of all, okay, I just have to say the opening sucks. There's this hackneyed sequence that we've all seen from movies like Atomic Cafe of the famous early 1950s A-bomb tests in the desert where we see the houses and the dummies get blown up. And I'm sorry, but everyone's seen that a million times. And if you haven't seen it a million times, well, you should have seen it a million times. You need to get out more. And then there's a long stretch of talking about what this show is not about. Is it not about the 7 deadly sins? Is it not about the 7 wonders of the world? And really, it almost feels like the filmmakers were not confident about their thesis, and that they decided to pad the movie. They felt like they needed to make it longer.
Okay, so but what's their what's their thesis?
So their thesis is Gilligan. Well, it's more than a thesis.
Sherwood Schwartz, by the way, is the writer.
So Mr. Sherwood Schwartz articulates this. He says, "Look, I was trying to send a social and economic message about the nature of capitalism from a left-wing point of view, but I knew I wasn't going to be able to do that in a straightforward way. So I thought I would do it using a comedy that would make it past the Hollywood censors. The end. And that's exactly what we did. That's the That's the thesis.
That's
right?
it. Yeah. So
and Gilligan and Marianne are the only working class characters, right?
Yeah,
and he wears red.
And and you can see in the episodes a lot of what happens in the stories is about how they're running their little society on this island, and whether they're going to, for example, they discover gold.
Yeah. But it does no good.
It does no good, but of course, what's the rich guy's name?
Thurston Howell III.
Yeah,
he does have a name, right?
Right, and he's gonna seize all of the gold because he's that person. Right. He's the rich person,
and he's greedy.
And what I love about that moment is you see it head on. You see it. Here's this one entitled person. I talk like this. I'm white. And I'm privileged.
I speak with lockjaw.
And everything is mine. The fact that it's been found is just proof that it's mine.
That's right.
And so you see the displaced logic, the complete lack of human respect or any kind of dignity. It's so just horrid. He's just a horrid person. And there's another scene where they're talking with the Soviets, and he realizes that they're the same as he is because they're just as selfish as he is.
Right. Well, the thing is, man, you see the clips of this old show, and first of all, it has aged wonderfully.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful looking show. The stock is great.
Yeah.
And the dialogue, oh my God, I just did not remember the dialogue being so damn smart.
Well, that's the thing is it's surprising that, especially when you just brought up in a phone conversation last week in the context of bad television, that little did we know we were being spoon-fed leftist ideology through Gilligan's Island. So, hey, if you're a fan of Gilligan's Island, then you're probably a fan of leftist ideology.
You're probably
because
a communist.
You could be. In fact, I think you
have to be.
Yeah, I think
if you're not, you should kill yourself now.
Check your passport. I think somebody already stamped it in there for you
with a big hammer and sickle. Well, of course, obviously, it's also true that all those Norman Lear shows from around the same time or a little bit later, during the 60s and 70s was a time of a lot of very far left commentary in Hollywood. And, All in the Family, Chico and the Man, Room 222, MASH.
And so this guy, Sherwood Schwartz, was also in on all of that stuff because he was directing episodes of the Red Skelton Show, which I'm sure you remember,
mm-hmm.
and the Brady Bunch, and he was responsible for writing some of the Brady Bunch movies. And
the first Brady Bunch movie is amazing.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's so good.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's up there with like the Lego Movie in terms of like surprising you.
Wow. I would never have guessed that.
Yeah, nobody. If you watch it, you're like, oh my god, it's so good. It's well, no, but yeah. I mean, the Brady Bunch is not as political, I think. But I'm gonna have to go back and watch it again. It's good though.
Well, I think everything is political in hindsight because you realize what information is being smuggled into the relationships, and so.
Well, in a way, the right wingers are right? Like they've always been arguing that like Hollywood is far left and like they're propagandizing the youth of America, and I guess they were.
Well, they were, and in a good way. I went back and watched this Marlene Dietrich film with von Sternberg called Morocco with Gary Cooper, and it's a pre-code movie, and you just cannot believe how free and loose the writers are playing, and they're creating, everybody's always storming around, I want to see strong women characters, and she's a powerful and
well, Marlene Dietrich always plays powerful.
That's the thing is Marlene Dietrich was so fresh and modern. There's a scene in Morocco where a guy comes in her dressing room, he's her agent, and she says, how do you like me now? You would never have guessed this in 1933 that Marlene Dietrich was behaving in this way. And then when you see when the Hays Code comes along, it just sucks all the blood out of everything. And so Hollywood for so long, and still today, it's a big deal if a woman takes her top off in a movie, but you can blow off as many heads as you want. And so the way Hollywood has gone is very it's a corollary with all of the political attitudes.
Well, I mean, you could say it just reflects society, but life imitates art so much. I mean, if you think about this when you're listening to it, I mean, the odds are you probably learned how to kiss from watching a movie. The odds are you may have learned even how to have sex from watching a movie. You've learned how to. If you're a man, you learned how to act laconic and stoic from watching people like John Wayne or Clint Eastwood,
and just how to relate in social situations and in private situations,
or even like how to conduct
well.
repartee at like a party or over dinner or anything. I mean, there's a feedback loop between culture and any cultural product and cultural realization.
And in Gilligan's Island, you can see where the professor, a lot of times he'll be the defining decision mind because he's the professor. So what's happening?
Mr. Rationality.
Right, exactly. So here we go. Here's
triumph of science.
Yeah.
So do we ever learn in Gilligan's Island what kind of professor he is? I don't think we do.
No, it's very vague.
We don't
just
know.
The
is
professor.
Is he an English professor?
Right.
Is he a math professor?
Well, we know that he has math and science skills.
Oh yeah, because he does that. Yeah, he makes things.
Yeah, he's the MacGyver of the bunch.
That's correct. Yeah, that is right.
So and you're always thinking, is he gonna take up with the movie star or Marianne? Because he's the professor, he's kind of handsome, and so there's that romantic undertow that's always pulling at the show, and then you've got this weird subliminal gay thing that's happening between the skipper and Gilligan because he's what was the term in the early noir movies? Like Maltese, the Gunsel. He's the Gunsel. He's in the Batman and Robin. He's Robin.
He's definitely Robin, no question. Yeah.
So you've got those cultural corollaries happening between Batman and Robin.
Yeah,
the skipper's
always way up Gilligan's business in like a sort of #men2 kind of way. He should. I mean, like objectively, if Gilligan slashed the skipper's throat while he's sleeping, like really no one can fault him. It's like, leave me alone, man.
What a twist that would have been to the series.
So awesome.
It's also interesting because it's one of those series that starts off in black and white. The first year or two, first couple of seasons are in black and white, and then it goes to color, and it looks great. It looks a lot better in color. Looks really good in color.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful in color. It's kind of like almost like a Hanna-Barbera cartoon. Did you ever see? I have not. I've always wanted to. It must be on YouTube. The last episode that they did, like I think a long time later, where they're rescued from the island.
I didn't see it. No.
I think we need to watch that at some point.
Yeah. I mean, I just love the conceit. I love
it's apparently quite good.
I love Sherwood Schwartz put these 7 archetypal people on a desert island and played out all of his little leftist polemics in this television series that
seemingly insipid.
That shockingly until now I've not heard of this.
Yeah, the Gilligan Manifesto. It's really too bad that the documentary is a bit of a hot mess.
Yeah, it is.
It's over an hour and 30 minutes long. It could really easily be 40 minutes, and it would be a great 40 minutes. In fact, my recommendation is if you watch this online, it's just like look at the little mini pictures when you forward through it, and just skip all the initial part about the nuclear testing and the atomic bomb stuff, because you already know that there was such a thing as a nuclear scare and like the Cold War.
Well, also, but I think they could have had a good 90-minute movie, but they needed to definitely take out those first 8 minutes of all that the hackneyed crap that has nothing really, like, we get it, believe me, we get it. All you need to do is say it.
Actually doesn't even have anything to do with the idea, the thesis of the film.
Well, not much. Just that these people are the last potentially the last surviving members of humanity. I get it.
However, that's probably, by the way, that's a ridiculous thesis, because in the plot of the show, people from the outside world show up.
Well, no, he said that that was the initial idea, and then he built from it. And so, of course, you want to, you got to be able to milk.
Oh, so it's like that movie, The Beach.
You got to be able to milk the series, and so
on the beach,
you need with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
no, there's another one. There's an old film from the 60s called On the Beach, where it's a shipwreck or a plane crash or something, and all the survivors, they see like a mushroom cloud, and it turns out they think that like everyone's gone. It goes a little bit, it's like Lord of the Flies. Also,
so I just think that they should have had some real leftists from that era. I want to see,
or from now.
Both. I want to see. I want to see.
If only there was someone like that.
Yeah, no, exactly. There are people out there, and that's the thing, is that I just don't see anywhere. This is such an anomaly as a movie, just to experience it, because it's lo and behold, there's a leftist. Oh, that's what one looks like. That's what he sounds like. That's what he thinks like. It's interesting just from that perspective, and I think that if. There's two ways they could have gone. They could have brought in more lefties to talk about the series and from a new perspective, and also to have Schwartz talk.
Well, they had
more.
The actress who played Marianne.
Yeah, they had the actors.
She's great.
They had the actors talking, and it was very interesting to hear. I'm really glad that they did that. But like you said, it feels like it's a 90-minute movie that should have, or a 50-minute movie that's got padded out to 90, and also the graphics, what they did with the little chapter break graphics are just waste of time, ugly, terrible, and I don't know why they even bothered in the beginning. They show a fake intro of, and you think that it almost seems like they couldn't get the licensing for the actual intro.
Right.
Show the actual intro, because the actual intro is great.
Yeah, it really is.
How are you not going to show that? That's the whole hook of Gilligan's Island is in that song.
They must have been able to get it because they had clips from the show.
A 3-hour tour. It's great. It's
a tiny ship.
It's a great setup.
It's so great. I mean, when you consider like how many shows had really terrible setups that nobody really ever talks about, like Ironside, he's in a wheelchair. Okay, and he has to use a ramp to get into the courthouse. Okay. Or like Welcome Back, Kotter. So it's in Brooklyn, and the guy who's from the school comes back to teach at the school. Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's really
okay.
not that exciting.
Yeah, but great music, great intros.
Oh,
for,
yeah.
for Welcome Back, Kotter,
True.
and for this one. All right, so I think we've summed up in a nutshell the Gilligan Manifesto. It's not a great movie, but it's an interesting movie, and if you've never been introduced to this idea that Gilligan's Island is a leftist screed,
And he's smart as hell.
then now you can go back and watch episodes of Gilligan's Island and say, see, this is the one about property. How no one should have any property.
And I heard all about this on Cole's La Grande Bouffe. And if you don't say that, Cole will come and kill you.
No,
we should, but he won't. He's
no.
busy.
And I'm lazy. I like sleep too much for that stuff. Anyway, I hope that you will, wherever you are listening from, in Iceland or the UK or Canada or Uruguay, visit colesmithy.com, where you can click on my Patreon page and you can contribute anywhere from $5 a month to $1,000 a month to help keep the podcast and the website alive. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you for my special guest co-host this week, cartoonist and author Ted Rall. And remember to turn your cell phones off when you're walking, driving, riding a bicycle, or watching a movie.